These are more difficult linear equations that we're going to solve where we have a negative number of x's. So if we look at our first question, we've got 8 minus x equals 3. Now if we look at this and think back to the other examples we've seen so far, there's one thing that strikes me as different, and that is the fact that it's in a different order, because we're used to having the x and then the number. But here we've got the number and then the x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this side just to make it easier for us to use with the x first and then the constant. So I need to have a look at this 8. What is that 8? Now, because it's at the front of an equation, I know that because it doesn't have a sign in front of it, that means actually it's plus 8. Because if it was minus 8, it would have a negative sign in front of it. So I'm going to rearrange this, and I'm going to take my plus x to the front, because I like my x first. Sorry, my minus x, not plus x, minus x. And then I'm going to put my plus 8 afterwards. And that equals 3. And now that's much better, because now I can follow what I've done before. So I've got a minus x, and I want, I'm adding 8 to it, and I'm going to get 3. So how do I get my x on its own, which is what I want at the end? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to get rid of this plus 8. How do I get rid of plus 8? I subtract it. And I'm going to do that from both sides. So I've got minus x plus 8 minus 8, which will just leave me with minus x. And then I've got 3 minus 8 on that side. So I can rewrite that, minus x equals 3 minus 8 is minus 5. Okay, so far I'm happy. But now I want to get x on its own. At the moment, I don't have x on its own. I have minus x. Now, minus x actually means minus 1 times x. Okay, so if we imagine, we've got an imaginary 1 in there. So minus 1 times x equals minus 5. So to get rid of that minus sign that I don't like, I'm going to get rid of my whole minus 1. So I'm multiplying by minus 1, so I'm going to divide by minus 1 because that's the inverse. So now I'm going to have minus 1x divided by minus 1, which is going to just give me a minus divided by a minus will give me a plus, and 1 divided by 1 will give me 1. So I'm just going to have positive x, and then I've got my minus 5 divided by minus 1. Now, negative divided by negative is going to be a positive, so I don't need to worry about writing it there. And then 5 divided by 1 is going to give me 5. So my final answer is x equals 5. Now, if I move to this slightly more difficult example, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Now, I'm going to look at my 7 and think, is it positive or negative? Well, I know it's positive because there isn't a sign in front of it. So I'm going to rearrange this side to get it, the x at the front and then the constant. So I'm going to move, oh, my pen's running out. I'm going to move my minus 4x and put it at the beginning. And then my plus 7 can come next. And that equals minus 2. So I'm happy with that. Now I've got it in the form that I like to have it. So I've got minus 4 lots of x, and I'm adding 7. How can I get rid of my add 7? I'm going to subtract it, because that's the inverse. So minus 4x plus 7, take away 7, is just going to give me minus 4x. And then on the other side, I've got minus 2 minus 7. So that means minus 4x equals minus 9. Now, what I need to do is I've got a minus 4 times x. I need to get rid of this minus 4. So how do I get rid of times minus 4? Well, I divide by minus 4. And if I do that to both sides, then minus 4x divided by minus 4, the minus and the minus make a plus, and then the 4 divided by the 4 makes a 1, so I'm just left with x, which is great. And then on this side, I've got minus 9 divided by minus 4. So we know that minus divided by minus is a plus, so I don't need to write anything. And then I've got 9 divided by 4, so we need to change that into a mixed number. So how many 4s go into 9? It's going to be 2. And what have I got left over? Just 1/4. And that's the solution for our second example.
Okay, Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? Get all these together in one place.
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.